This past week, a new statue went up in Times Square. It features a young black woman in everyday attire, t-shirt, jeans, braided hair, slightly heavier set. And people are in an uproar, with people claiming that it's enforcing negative stereotypes and that it's just not a good depiction of black women to be put in Times Square. There are some who are praising it for a symbolic significance, but the vast majority from what I've seen online are pissed. They're mocking the statue's appearance, they're liking it to the angry black woman trope or the mammy caricature. Other people see political undertones, claiming that the statue served more to provoke than to inspire, and maybe it did. A lovely new subscriber of mine commented on my previous video asking what are my thoughts on this situation. And honestly, I want to start by saying all art is not meant to just be beautiful. The world's greatest artists are the ones who make us question things, who make us have dialogue. So I would just give this guy, Thomas J. Price, his props for that alone, right? Secondly, guys, when I saw this outrage online, I was just like, when will we ever be free? As an artist, I did a brief search into Thomas J. Price's work, which I had previously never heard of before, and it didn't take me long to figure out that this is actually his true style of work. I looked at his previous sculptures. He often depicts black women and men in very unassuming positions and unassuming attire and in their regular, fully black, fully average selves. And what is actually wrong with that? This piece here was erected outside of Rotterdam Central Station, which is in Amsterdam, Netherlands. I didn't hear any uproar for this piece, and this also is just a plain old black woman in plain old clothing. No uproar. Here's another piece. This is, I believe, in Venice, Italy, or somewhere. I haven't heard any uproar from this piece. But this one in Times Square, New York, is causing the biggest backlash. And you know, for the life of me, I just can't help to see the underlying tone of self-hate. How many more otherworldly Negroes do we need to see for you guys to be satisfied? I'm wondering, would it have been better if he did a Wakanda-esque character in some fictional African garb? So I want to unpack this layer by layer. Let's start with the attire. Some people are saying, oh, they could have gave her a better outfit, they could have given her this, they could have given her that. Let's start with the fact that the average American is living below the poverty line, which means majority of people are wearing regular plain clothes. Hanes t-shirts, Levi's jeans, joggers, leggings, regular clothes. And that's exactly what the statue has on. So what's the issue here? If you go to any major metropolis in the States, including New York, you're going to see most people in joggers, jeans, when it's winter, regular black puffy coats. So there's a general underwhelming sense of fashion in the States at large. So I don't know what you guys were expecting. Why didn't he make it like the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans? And why didn't he give them? This isn't supposed to be fairy tale land. He depicts everyday people in order to probe the question of why don't these people deserve representation and why can't they be in sculptures? Period, point blank. A brief Google search states this. Thomas's work engages with issues of representation and perception, playing with material, scale, and detail in order to challenge viewers' expectations. Most of his figures are fictional characters created from various references to serve as a psychological portrait. All of Price's works share a fascination with people, body language, and expression, as well as an exploration of classic modes of Western art and his own Jamaican heritage. One of the main issues that I feel most people are finding with the piece is that the woman is slightly heavier set. Obesity statistics. Let's take it to the facts. The prevalence of obesity among adults is 40%. Among men, it's 39%, and among women, it's 41%. Now, I'm not going to talk about how they're gauging what is obese and what's not. The main thing here is that the average American is not skinny, despite what the TV tells us, despite what the runway tells us, despite what the magazines and Instagram is telling us. The average American citizen is not some slim figure. It's simply not. And this isn't even just within the black community. People aren't that small, period. So what's the issue with having a bigger, slightly more heavy-set woman? I'll tell you what, it's not an issue. I think that we as a society, especially within the Black community in the States, have a collective body dysmorphia. Let's call it what it is. I saw someone on social media the other day saying that some Black Americans were making fun of the fact that places in the Caribbean and Africa have a problem with bleaching, right? And the woman's take was, okay, well, maybe us Americans, we don't have a problem with bleaching, but let's not act like we don't have a problem with colorism and featureism in general, because look at the rising rates of women getting rhinoplasties. This is the lady's take. And I'm not gonna lie. As Americans, we're seeing the nip and tuck phenomenon at all new heights. Regular people working regular office clerk jobs are going to Turkey to get their noses done, to make them more slim, and to remove the ethnic look of their nose. That is what it is. Let's call a spade, and let's stop acting like we don't have a major problem going on. In the spring of either 2018 or 2019, I visited Paris for the first time, and I went to Musée d'Orsay, which is one of their bigger museums. At the time, there was an exhibition called Les Modèles Noirs on view, and it was single-handedly the most disgusting exhibition I've visited. Edouard Monet's Olympia was one of the poster images of the whole exhibition, and as you can see, the woman is a slave. The way that we were depicted in most of art is without agency and in roles of servitude. This piece right here is possibly the most egregious piece of artwork that I have ever laid my eyes on in person. Not only was it egregious, it was huge. The scale was immaculate, and I was being circled around as one of the only Black people in the gallery by white, French, and other Europeans just gawking at this piece of work. For those who don't know, the majority of these paintings and pieces and artworks from this time period were commissioned works by aristocrats, by the high society of the time. So that means someone commissioned this piece for their viewing pleasure. I want you guys to really think about that. The fact that Black artists are able to create the work that they're able to create on the scale that they're able to create today, and have the choice of how the figure poses, have the choice of how the figure dresses, is amazing. The fact that this artist, Thomas J. Price, has chosen to depict regular people, I'm sorry, it's a statement, and it's needed, because clearly we have lost our minds in today's world. And I always told myself, since I saw this exhibition, that I would make sure my journey as an artist is to depict my experience as a Black person, how I experience the world, and the way I want us to be remembered. And so I'm sure many Black artists feel the same way, including Thomas J. Price. He has a mission to support, uplift, and project the image of the everyday Black person. My 2 cents is that we need to learn to love ourselves, because from what I'm seeing online, the women who actually look the closest to the statue are confused. And they're also just coming out to say that uproar is honestly just affirmation of what they've always known. You guys do not like to see bigger Black women celebrated, loved, or you don't like to see them at all, period. And this is a problem, because these women are our cousins, our mothers, our aunts. All of my family looks similar, and not just my family. As an African American, I've spent a lot of time in Ghana over the last 4 years. And one thing I can tell you is that you can go to any local market and find a woman that looks just like that, with a t-shirt. Even the hair, it's not going to be in braids, it's going to be in a scarf and it tied up. Americans think is like, you can't go outside in a scarf. No, that's how women work and live here. So it's just crazy to me that we're so far removed from reality. Even, the artist is from Jamaica, or his family's from Jamaica. I've been to Jamaica, and I've never been to a resort. I've been to the real Jamaica. I've been to Kingston. I've been to Portland. I've been to St. Thomas. I've been to St. Elizabeth. And one thing I can tell you is there's a million, okay, maybe not a million, but a million. There's a million women who look like that statue in Jamaica. And there's a million women who look like that statue in America. And they deserve respect, and they deserve to exist without people policing them. Now, one thing I do want to say is that for a statue of that size to go up in Times Square, it didn't just happen overnight. This is something that boardrooms have sat down to talk about. And I'm sure there was probably, he has many other statues. Could they have chosen a different one? Maybe, right? They did choose this one. It was a choice at the end of the day. And I do feel like sometimes, especially with all the DEI rollbacks and the MAGAs and the things just brewing and happening in the States, can I say that this was definitely a choice? I feel like sometimes things are done to provoke us, to get us to rise up and be up in arms about things. I do feel that too sometimes. But at the end of the day, I respect the artist. I respect my nervous system. When I see these things online, to be honest, I'm hesitant to speak on it. Sometimes it's necessary. Today I've said I'll do it, especially because someone asked me to. However, when I see some of these things, I just scroll because I don't have time. Like, the divisiveness, the self-hate is too much. It's crazy. And we really need to get a real grip on reality. We simply do, because we're very out of touch with it. Every woman is not like... Guys, I could go on and on and on and on and on about this topic, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the statue? Should the statue have been allowed to be put up? Do you find offense in the statue, or do you think everyone's doing a little bit too much? Let me know in the comments, and yeah, we'll see you guys next video.